CTV News with Angela Mackenzie.
Good evening and welcome to this half-hour newscast on CJAD 800 and ctvnewsmontreal.ca. It's the latest in a series of departures from the CAQ. Geneviève Guilbeault, Quebec's former deputy premier and a key cabinet member, announced today she is quitting politics at the end of her term. Stéphane Giroux reports.
Geneviève Guilbeault made her announcement surrounded by her two children, saying she wanted to spend more time watching them growing up.
Je ne serai donc pas candidate à l'élection.
I will not be a candidate in this fall's election, she says. I know I'll surprise a few, but it has nothing to do with Premier Legault's departure, poll results, or anything else, she said.
S'engager pour 4 autres années.
Serving another 4 years would mean my children would reach 10 and 12, she says, explaining she didn't want to regret not watching them grow up. And in a rare display of emotion, added,
J'ai une chance inouïe et une richesse inestimable.
I was lucky to serve in politics, surrounded by so many good people. A handful of CAQ members and ministers came to support her.
It's not easy to work in politics. It's very difficult.
La journée d'une des plus grandes dames que la politique québécoise n'a pas connue.
She is one of the greatest ladies in politics that Quebec has ever known, he says. Guilbeault's departure comes as many expected her to run for the CAQ's leadership, following the announcement last week that François Legault would step down.
Rumors on the Hill in Quebec City were that she was no longer hiding the fact that she had the ambition to succeed François Legault.
However, Guilbeault had lost clout in the past year. Controversies regarding a third link between Quebec and its South Shore continued to linger. She also delivered a controversial testimony at the inquiry into the SAQ's cost overrun that affected her credibility.
Her star kind of faded since the Saclic fiasco.
Those who work at the National Assembly say she also had difficulties working with her colleagues. In her writing, some constituents we met wished her the best. She worked hard for her writing. It's a crazy job, he says, though others associated her with the CAQ's diminishing popularity.
She's a very good person, but just politically, no, I won't vote for her.
Guilbeault says she'll finish her term, but hasn't excluded a future return to politics. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Police on the South Shore are looking for a 62-year-old man who has been missing for 2 weeks. Sylvain Bertz was last seen on January 4th at around 12:30 p.m. on Écluse Boulevard in St. Catherine. Roussillon police have done multiple ground searches without success. Today, they set up a command post hoping to gather useful information from the public. Police say Bertz had not shown up at work in the past 2 weeks and his family has not heard from him. He stands 5 feet 9 inches, weighs 150 pounds, and has brown eyes. Well, the Laval Rocket are sending the team's condolences to the family of a fan who died during the team's game on Saturday night. Fan Michel Pelletier suffered a medical emergency at Place Belle, which caused the game against the Manitoba Moose to end a minute prematurely. On social media, the Rocket posted, "We would like to offer our most sincere condolences to his family and all his loved ones." The American Hockey League also offered its condolences. His daughter posted that her father died peacefully at the game where he liked to go. Renters will find out Monday how much they can expect their rent to increase. Last year, the provincial government changed the way annual rent increases would be calculated, allowing property owners to offset more of their maintenance costs with higher rents. RECLAC, an organization that advocates for tenant rights, says the change in formula will result in the highest rent increases in the past 20 years, with the exception of 2024-2025. Property owners say the change will instead allow landlords to fend off buyers who would like to hike rents even more. Well, it's skating season, but in Montreal, reliable ice is getting harder to find. Refrigerated rinks are supposed to fill the gap, but the city's latest budget, there are no plans to build more. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
When winter rolls around, Guillaume Duval hits the ice.
For me, it was important to bring my daughter and put her on skates.
He says it's a family affair, and he enjoys skating on refrigerated ice rinks, the kind that can stay frozen even when temperatures are above freezing. But the city's latest budget doesn't include money to build new ones. For Duval and other skaters in Verdun, the lack of investment is disappointing.
It's sad because with climate change, we have way less ice rinks.
I think it's very sad because it's for the kids and we don't have a lot of moments during the winter we can enjoy it. And they cut 2 ice rinks near my house.
The previous administration had set aside $20 million to invest in refrigerated ice rinks, but this administration says it's refocusing its priorities. Robert McClellan is an environmental professor at Wilfrid Laurier University.
The costs are really variable, but typically we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars in terms of equipment to purchase and maintain over a fixed number of years.
And due to the changing climate, he says refrigerated ice rinks could become essential.
What we're seeing is a longer-term trend towards shorter, milder winters that will affect outdoor skating.
For Duval, ice rinks aren't just for sports. It's part of Montreal's winter culture.
I saw so many kids coming from South America or Haiti or the Maghreb, and the kids, they see their friends going outside and skating, and they want to try, they want to be on the ice.
And without the proper investment, he's worried that culture could be melting away. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has wrapped up 2 days in Qatar with a number of agreements in the works, strengthening ties between the two countries. Annie Bergeron-Oliver has the details.
Gestures of diplomatic respect fly throughout downtown Doha. 742 flags line the roads, with more projected onto the city's tallest structures. The backdrop fitting for a trip aimed at strengthening the ties of a relationship overlooked for years.
In this more uncertain and dangerous world, we've chosen to create greater stability, security, and prosperity together.
An elaborate ceremony at the palace setting the stage for a day of meetings, including with the emir, the country's head of state. Carney says the two leaders agreed to improve trade access and investment in clean energy, AI, and defense. Qatar, who Carney now calls a strategic partner, will also make significant strategic investments in nation-building projects that Ottawa says will supercharge the energy sector. No details or firm commitments were revealed.
We are creating a framework to build, and we need investment above and beyond what's available here in Canada.
The visit comes as part of Carney's global push to diversify Canada's trading partners and become less reliant on the United States, a country who has threatened to impose increasing tariffs on 8 EU allies who oppose Donald Trump's plan to buy Greenland.
To be absolutely clear, we always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is.
The Prime Minister is leaving Doha for Davos, Switzerland tomorrow, where he may get the chance to raise his concerns about Greenland directly to the U.S. President. Donald Trump is expected to attend the World Economic Forum, and so are several leaders facing his tariffs. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Doha, Qatar.
As we just heard, the Prime Minister will be meeting President Donald Trump at the World Economic Forum, where part of the conversation is likely to be about Trump's threat to tariff allies who have opposed his plan to take Greenland. Jeremy Sharon reports.
It is this massive Arctic island U.S. President Donald Trump insists the U.S. needs to own, but Trump's push to punish allies in his quest to take over Greenland is being met with trepidation.
It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation, to be absolutely clear.
Prime Minister Mark Carney defended Greenland's sovereignty and security today, insisting Canada's position hasn't changed.
The future of Greenland, decisions about the future of Greenland, are for Greenland and Denmark to decide.
In a Saturday night social media post, Trump threatened tariffs on 8 countries until a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. Sparking today an emergency meeting of European Union ambassadors in Brussels, a joint statement by the 8 countries says tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. We will continue to stand united and coordinated in our response. We are committed to upholding our sovereignty. Trump's threats could be a potentially dangerous test of the U.S.'s partnerships with European allies.
It runs the very real risk of doing lasting damage to the NATO alliance, to the cohesion that is so important.
Trump's Treasury Secretary repeating today in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press that owning Greenland is essential to U.S. national security.
Peace through strength, make it part of the United States, and there will not be a conflict because the United States right now, we are the hottest country in the world. We are the strongest country in the world. The Europeans project weakness. The U.S. projects strength.
Denmark continues to pursue a diplomatic way forward with the U.S. over Greenland and is meeting with fellow NATO members to discuss the alliance's Arctic security strategy. Jeremy Cheryl, CTV News, Ottawa.
The latest move in Minneapolis amid ongoing protests against ICE officers could include the U.S. government sending in active duty soldiers. And as Ike Ajochi reports, the mayor and governor are concerned they may be under federal investigation.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey defending himself and Governor Tim Walz insisting they've done nothing wrong amid what sources say is a new federal investigation for allegedly obstructing law enforcement activity. It follows reaction to the deadly shooting of Renee Good by ICE officer Jonathan Ross on January 7th.
This is a very serious matter, and this whole investigation would ultimately be the product of one of the most basic foundational responsibilities that I have as mayor, which is to speak on behalf of my constituents.
Frey, who says he intends to comply with the investigation, claims his office has not received a subpoena from the Justice Department. Governor Walz saying weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. When asked about the probe, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche told Fox News Sunday,
"You saw the governor and the mayor actively encouraging criminals to go out on the street and impede ICE. That is not allowed under our law."
This amid intensifying protests in Minnesota. Demonstrators gathering again today in Minneapolis. Defense Department officials tell ABC News 2 battalions from the 11th Airborne Division, about 1,500 active duty Army paratroopers, have been put on alert for a possible deployment here, even though for now there is no plan for that to happen. One official says President Trump has not made a final decision whether to deploy them. The Pentagon saying if called upon, they're always prepared to execute the orders of the Commander-in-Chief. The White House has not responded to a request for comment. Ike Ajochi, ABC News, New York.
Turning to the weather now, it's currently -4 degrees in Montreal. Some cloud coverage expected this evening with temperatures dipping down to -11. Tomorrow will feel similar to today, but we likely won't see any sunshine, though we are likely to see some scattered flurries. And for the rest of the week, there's more snow on the horizon, and things are going to get really cold by the end of the week, a low of -27 on Saturday. Well, he was told he was too heavy to play football when he was just 8 years old. But now this West Island teen is getting a chance to be part of some of the biggest games in the U.S. Kelly Gregg reports.
From DDO to the Superdome, Shakai Mills' night is off and running.
It was unreal. This is like everything I ever dreamed of.
He started playing football at 7 years old. And while his mom wasn't sold on it at first,
I used to actually, when he was scoring the touchdowns, I would run with him down the other end of the field kind of things. So yeah, I was really an excited mom.
But by 8, he was already at the center of a controversy when he was deemed too heavy to carry the ball.
They took away all our wins and we didn't end up making the playoffs when we really should have won the championship that year. And that just fired me up. Ever since then, I knew football is what I was going to do.
Since then, his former coach has seen him grow up and grow into a standout player.
As the years went on, I had to go like, look at him like this, grow up like, now you're bigger than me. But seeing him get better, he was kind of a natural. Catching certain things just came naturally.
And his speed, well, you can say it runs in the family. His uncle Glenn coached Usain Bolt.
Running back is just, you can't teach speed.
For his mom, that family speed meant she was constantly rushing to get her 6 kids to practice on time.
We had a Monday night that was called spaghetti night because that was the fastest thing to make on a practice night.
Mills Knight is now a freshman at the University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss. He had 8 carries this season, and after being picked as underdogs in the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss beat Georgia, but fell to Miami in the national semifinals.
This was supposed to be the year, to be honest. Like, I told everyone this was going to be the year, but we finished 3rd place, but I'm coming back next year for more, and we're ready to win it this year now.
He says despite many U.S. schools overlooking Canadian talent, he's got a taste of the big time. His next goal is making the pros. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
The Australian Open is underway down under. It's the first Grand Slam of the season, and several Canadians are in it this year. And with me now is tennis analyst Hélène Pelletier. Hi, Hélène.
Hello.
So what can we expect at the Australian Open this year? Who should Canadians be keeping an eye on?
Well, you know, there's like so many of our players that are doing so incredibly well. Remember that last week, Mboko got all the way to the finals. She beat so many incredible players. And after winning Montreal, it was tough because she was tired, she was hurt. But she's 16th in the world after this finals in Adelaide last week. So I'm a little bit worried about her knee, but hopefully she'll be in good standing for today's match. And of course, Felix, the same thing after doing the semifinals. I know he wasn't well at the United Cup, the only tournament he played only 2 matches. So, but let's be super positive about what he can do. And to see Liam Draxel, a young player who qualified, that was awesome. Lost it yesterday, unfortunately, but it's real progress. Same thing with Marina Stakucic. She's got a great talent. I believe that she can be top 50 this year if she keeps her composure and if she can really stay confident no matter what. She's a fantastic ball striker. And of course, there's also Shapovalov, and there's also, all the players that can try to compete at this first Grand Slam. That comes so quickly because it means, that the players don't even spend, Christmas at home. For North Americans, it's a heck of a trip, 16-hour difference here on the East Coast with Melbourne. But it's always an exciting time, and that's why we call the Australian Open the fun slam, the happy slam.
Let's go back to 19-year-old Victoria Mboko. What is her mindset right now, and who do you think she's leaning on at this point in her career?
Do you know what her problem is? She wins too much. And it takes time for a young player to be able to have the stamina to sustain all these matches one after the other. There's nobody that can win an easy match against Mboko. That's how competitive she is. She is extraordinary. She's the future of tennis in this country. She's going to achieve amazing things. I said last summer that she would be top 10, and she's so close already. The only thing I'm worried about her, because it's not easy to give it your all when you feel that your knee, which has been hurt in the past and took her off the competitive landscape for quite a long time. So you have to be careful. We don't want her to push too much. We want her to grow into her talent, if you understand what I mean, because it's such a physically demanding sport, tennis. It's out of this world demanding, but I'm so confident, and I love her demeanor on the court. She's positive, she's beautiful, and I can only say good things about her.
How does the Australian Open set up the year for tennis?
Like I said, you know what? It always comes too quickly. And of course, it's a very, very important Grand Slam. Just think about Alcaraz. It's the only one he hasn't won yet. And yesterday he played phenomenal at the beginning, the first set, and then a little bit of a downer in the second, but he won in 3. And it's this competition in the men's side, let's be honest, between Alcaraz and Sinner. And there's Djokovic, who is in the side of the bottom draw, so on the side of Sinner. So we never know, because he's done so well in the past at the Australian Open. He's won so many. It's one major event. There's no doubt about it. But the year is so long. There's going to be many, many opportunities for our top players in Canada to do well.
Hélène Pelletier, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Time now for In Case You Missed It. January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. It's a cancer that mostly affects women under 50 and can be deadly. Researchers at the MUHC are working on more effective ways to find the virus that causes it and improve access to these tests. Denise Roberts reports.
Jennifer Curran became a new mom and a cancer patient at the same time in her life. During her pregnancy, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer.
I had the cancer removed at the same time as my C-section.
She had no symptoms, but her cancer required radiation and chemotherapy.
So I didn't get a chance to linger in, being sad for myself, because I had this little baby to take care of.
Human papillomavirus, or HPV, is the main risk factor for cervical cancer. Most cases occur in women younger than 50, and 430 Canadians die of it each year. Until recently, Pap tests were the main way to detect it. But Dr. Annie Leung and her team at the MUHC are working on a new HPV test that is more accessible and accurate, something that can save women from life-altering treatments.
The possibility that I would need to do surgery to remove their uterus and cervix, that has huge implications on what their future looks like.
While Pap tests are still recommended, Leung says there's now a shift towards self-testing, where swabs can be done by women at home, something that makes screening more accessible, especially in northern Indigenous communities where cervical cancer rates are the highest in the country.
So before we even see abnormal cells, we're able to identify and detect the virus that causes the abnormal cells.
Self-screening is already available in BC and Ontario, and Dr. Leung says it should be rolled out in Quebec by the middle of this year. Her research is part of the MUHC Foundation's new focus on diseases that affect women.
Women's health research receives only 7% of federal health research funding in Canada.
Curran is now working with the foundation to help them raise funds, and she's sharing her story to ensure other women get tested.
Had I had that test available to me at the time, my story could have been very, very different.
Fortunately, her story has a happy ending. Her 5-year-old daughter is healthy and strong, and so is she. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Smoking tobacco continues to be on a downward trend, except among 18 to 34-year-olds. Quebec's Tobacco Free Week is drawing attention to the rise in young tobacco users. The Quebec Council on Tobacco and Health blames the popularity of vaping among young people for the increase. The theme of this year's campaign is 13,000 Reasons to Quit, referring to the annual number of deaths attributable to tobacco in the province. Well, with many Canadians heading south this winter, the federal government is urging travelers to exercise a high degree of caution if they go to Cuba. An updated advisory from the federal government warns there could be shortages of basic necessities like food, water, medicine, electricity, and fuel, which could also affect resort areas. If you go, it recommends keeping your phone charged and a supply of basic necessities on hand. Former Montreal Canadiens forward Phil Goyette has died. He was 92. The Canadiens made the announcement on its website, saying it learned of his passing on Saturday. Goyette was the second oldest among the Canadiens alumni. The Lachine native played with 4 NHL teams, including 7 with the Habs, winning 4 Stanley Cups between 1957 and 1960. The Canadiens described him as an elegant, efficient player and a gentleman on and off the ice. The PWHL broke attendance records in the U.S. today when the Montreal Victoire played the New York Sirens as part of their takeover tour. A record-setting crowd of more than 17,000 fans filled the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., the Victoire losing this one 2-1 for New York. And that's it for us. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a good evening. Take care, everyone.